there's three things in life a man can use to show his wealth. Is a car, his house, or a watch. And there's only one thing you can bring into a meeting room.
I've been around long enough to know that everyone wants to portray like they're doing well, but I don't actually know how well they're doing simply by the thing that they're wearing on their wrist.
Reputation does matter above all things, right? All you have is your reputation, and your reputation precedes your knowledge.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Lat Chat. Today, we're excited to sit down with the watch guy Jay, a business-savvy entrepreneur who's built a reputation for trust, partnerships, and impeccable taste in watches, and I can verify that right here. Jay's traded his desk job for freedom. He's now making waves in business while pursuing his passion in luxury watches and content creation. Jay, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, mate. Wow, what an intro. I think that's the best intro I've had yet.
That's great. Well, mate, we love to see it. Hopefully this is the best podcast you've done to date as well.
Let's hope so.
We'll do our best, man. Tufik, co-founder of Latitude Accountants, sitting right here. How are you, mate? How's your day?
Good, mate. Thank you for having me, Jacob.
Absolute pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast, Tufik. All right, Jay, let's get started. So I want to open it up with a bit of a more broad question to hear about your story and how you sort of got into this whole watches world. I hear you used to work corporate. Why don't you tell me the story on how you got out of high school, what you ended up doing, and how the hell you ended up collecting some very, very beautiful pieces, as I can see here.
Yeah, for sure. So actually back in high school, I was actually pretty introverted, if I'm totally honest with you. I wasn't really out there like I am now. I went to uni, did a degree in human resources. Finished that, went to work in human resources, and I figured out after a couple of years that this is crap.
You hate humans.
No. I love people. I love people. It's just that the whole corporate thing wasn't for me. I felt very pigeonholed. Yeah. And when I learned what my manager was making, I was like, this is not enough. So I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to, open up a side thing. So what I was doing for a couple of years is I was part-time. I was working. I had a business selling like juices and stuff with my brother at the markets. Yep. I did that, made some money, then realized I could scale this and open up different stores. So
how old were you at that time?
25, I think it was.
Yep.
Then that's when I was doing that part-time and I decided to take the leap, do that full-time. And at that stage, I think we were going to different markets around Sydney, and we were doing like 11 different pop-up stores in one location.
Yeah, right.
So we're basically kind of casting a very wide net and trying to collect as much, I guess, funds and money as we can at different events.
What kind of juices, out of curiosity?
Sugarcane.
There you go.
Yeah, mixed sugarcane juices.
Yeah.
So
I'm Egyptian, so I know a lot about
sugarcane's the best.
Very good.
Yeah, so we're doing that, and we also had like a loaded schnitzel kind of store. What happened was during COVID, we got shut down. We went down to Canberra, set everything up, had $1,000 worth of stock, like thousands of stock. And then during that period, we got shut down. So yeah, we just, as soon as we got there, packed up, we went home. And I think over a span of 1 month, we weren't doing anything at home. And eventually what we decided to do is just open up a food truck just in front of our house, just sell our loaded schnitzels. Yeah, right. That became a ghost kitchen because it was literally in front of our house. We found a little kitchen that we could rent out, cost barely anything, and we started selling schnitzels in a ghost kitchen. During that time, obviously COVID, everything was shut down, so we actually did really, really well during that period because everyone had to buy takeaway on Uber Eats, DoorDash, and all that. Raked in the money. Eventually, as COVID finished and business started to come down, we ended up selling the business. Made some money there as well, and then started doing production with my brother. AM Visuals. We started that business. Grew that business. My brother's still now running it. And during that time, I know I've been jumping around. I do quite a bit. During that time, I was kind of dabbling into watches. I was watching a lot of YouTube content, trying to understand the industry more. I was kind of always interested in watches, but never started looking into luxury watches until someone started talking to me about Rolexes. And I started looking into it. I was like, oh, shit, there's actually money to be made here. Started watching YouTube. A lot of people were making money. I'm like, okay. And then after, I think, binge watching some dude's whole channel, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try buying my first, not Rolex. My first watch was actually a Tudor, a Black Bay Silver 925.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean anything to you, Jacob?
Do you know
Black Bay crushed during the COVID. Tudor during the COVID era released Black Bay 58, the Black Bay 54. They ended up producing. They crushed.
Hey, do you know
your
your
stuff?
stuff, man? You know your stuff.
Yeah,
I don't think she'd be an accountant, man.
Look, I have a few friends that like.
Yeah. So during that period, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how the grey, I guess the grey market works, and also just the watch market in general, in just a bit. But bought that, sold that, made like $300, and started flipping more and more and more and more. And before I knew it, it started consuming my day job. I couldn't do what I was meant to do, which was sales and with AM Visuals anymore. Yeah. I just couldn't do it because I was just getting inundated with all these inquiries and leads and stuff with the watches. And then that's when I took the leap after
what
2
year
3
was it?
About 2 years ago now, I think. A year or 2 years ago. Yeah.
So just on the back end of the COVID sort of.
Correct. No, well, COVID was kind of already, everything was already off lockdown when AIM was running, so we were doing that.
Yeah.
And then, and then
good on you, man.
You decided to switch over full time, the leap. Yeah.
You've always had this entrepreneurial tick in you.
Yeah, I guess we can call it that.
Yeah,
that buzzword that everyone's using nowadays, you know.
Were your parents in business? Did you see anyone around you in business? What gave you the audacity basically to go and start this juice and be the next boost juices and whatnot? That all happened?
No, not boost juice yet. No, definitely not like that type of money we're making. But no, Dad's always been a serial entrepreneur. He's been since he dropped out in year 10 back in France where we were born.
You were born in France?
Yeah, we're European. Yeah,
wow. That's a crazy story, man.
Yeah. We're not very Asian. We're Asian, but just white inside.
You're a unique character.
That's it. So Dad's always been an entrepreneur. He built multi-million-dollar businesses back in France, came to Australia with nothing. We built another multi-million-dollar business. And it's just always been, I guess, entrepreneurial. And then just always been able to find like gaps in the market and how to make money and stuff. So I guess that kind of rubbed off on all of us. Phil, my brother as well, same thing. He also learned the same kind of, I guess, work ethics and business ethics. But it's just and then during my time having the food truck and the food business, he was I guess there a lot because we obviously shared the same premises and we were always bouncing ideas off each other, always asking stuff, and you kind of learn. You're around that kind of environment. You learn, okay, I should be doing this. Then essentially all it is just you do one thing that works and you keep doing it. You do one thing that doesn't work, you stop doing it. So that's all I find business as. So
just a whole bunch of experiments to find the thing that works.
Correct. Same thing with socials, and then we spoke a little bit before this, but with your social, I'm sure you guys started seeing some traction, which is why you started doing it more and more and more. So
I'll go to Tufik, who's the head of our social over here. This is a rare moment where you see Tufik on a podcast. Tufik, what do you think the impact of social media and all of the the marketing side of the business has done for any business?
Look, if I can answer that from a practical perspective, I think previously a lot of people would say, hey, speak to Tufik or speak to John at Latitude. They're good accountants. And people grab their phone, Google Tufik from Latitude Accountants, and they would see nothing. You know what I mean? It'd be dust. You wouldn't see my name anywhere.
That's the worst, yeah.
Because I didn't want to be seen. The truth is I'm that sort of bloke who doesn't want their name on the internet, right? But it doesn't work in business, unfortunately. No. When someone says, use Tufik, you've got to be able to go on Google and say Tufik from Latitude Accountants, and they better find my name. And because they can find my name now, right, I'm more likely to get a call. I'm more likely to be saying, oh, hey, he's on Instagram. Yeah, he does know a little bit about tax. They do have some clients. They seem like a legitimate firm. Let's give them a call. Let's ask them some questions. I think that's, from a practical perspective, that's what socials have done to our business. Now, if you ask me the dynamics of it, the technicalities of it, that's more Jacob's field. He likes it. But I understand it has its place and it does have its importance, I'm sure, as you've seen.
And I see why you chose Jacob. He's a bit of a better looking one. I'm just messing. I'm sorry.
You know what it is, Jay. On camera, you can't tell if I'm 6'5" or 5'6". Like I really am. So once we're above the waist, it's all play on. So Jay, you've got a mad story, man. And the fact that you born in France, came to Australia with nothing, saw your parents grow a business, and had a crack yourself, and then built a couple of good businesses. It's beautiful to see. We often say at Latitude Accountants, the small business owner is the hero of our community. The reason the small business owner is the hero is that they're the ones who sacrifice their own careers to create jobs for others and to start something out of nothing. It's a beautiful thing when you see someone who doesn't take, they're not taking money from the government, and they just start up. They have this idea, they have this innovation, and they release into the marketplace, and there's room for it. Speaking of room for it, when most people think watches, they think, I'll just go to the store, I'll go to the authorized dealer, and I'll just buy the watch I want, because whatever, they might be marking a milestone in their life. They might just want to watch. There's millions of other reasons, I'm sure you know. Why does a used watch dealer exist? Why can't a person just go into, let's use Rolex because everyone knows the names. Why can't we just walk into a Rolex there and buy a watch?
Okay, yeah, it's a very good question. One that I get asked on a regular basis. And I guess there's two parts of the industry. The ADs, authorized dealers, which are your Rolex boutiques, people who are, stores that are licensed to sell Rolexes through Rolex and all the other brands, of course. And they basically get their product from Rolex manufacturing and they sell it on to the public. Where we operate in what we call the grey market, right? So the grey market basically being second-hand dealers, right? Or as you call it, some people call it flippers. So what happened during COVID and slightly before that as well is that Rolexes were pretty hard to attain. So you couldn't really get them due to lack of supply, right? So what happened was during COVID, a lot of people were stuck at home. They couldn't go on holidays. They didn't have any other means to spend their money but on luxury goods. So what happened was with cars, luxury handbags, watches, they all kind of exploded because, again, people couldn't spend on anything, so they bought that. And in turn, what people ended up realizing, they could actually make money from these watches because due to other people wanting it, not being able to get it, prices of watches are kind of exploded. Everyone started buying everything up that they could get at the Rolex stores. You could buy anything and literally make money back then. Even Tudors, right, which is Rolex's sister company. So
Black Bay 58s were impossible to get.
Correct. Yeah, and then they traded at above retail,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
And so basically when I started with only Tudors, and I got the reputation of being the Tudor king because I just kept buying Tudors and selling that, and that's where I made my money until I eventually moved on to Rolex. So yeah, during that phase, no one could get anything. Prices went up. People like us, well, there was people like us around before then as well, but a lot more people like us started popping up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people started realizing, hey, I can buy this watch for 20 grand and flip it and make like 2 grand or whatever and do it consistently. So yeah, those are basically two sides of the market, and why I guess we're around is we're basically brokers connecting a buyer to a seller, right? It is quite risky for a seller to actually sell their piece because if they get caught from their authorized dealers, they can get blacklisted and banned. So their whole profile is you're no longer going to get any watches. But I guess we do it in a way where it's pretty discreet, and we move someone's watch to someone else, and obviously provide all the services and the points of contact, so that if anything happens, anything's wrong, they can always come back to us, so we can get rectified for them. And that's basically in a short how I would describe how the market operates.
And the reason for the blacklist is basically because obviously there was a lot of this going on at the time where Rolex doesn't want to sell a watch and then that watch being flipped into the grey market. So
correct, yeah.
They often say, you've got to build a profile, you've got to be reputable, and you can't just go and flip your watch off.
Look, it's a shame too. Because yes, you're right. They want to be selling these luxury items to people that they know that actually would want it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what's happened is obviously people realize that they could make money, so they buy it and end up giving it to someone like us or flipping on themselves. But also, I guess the games that they play in store where they make you buy a lot of other stuff that you don't want, jewelry or other brands that you don't want, just to kind of build your name up to get that particular piece.
So it's similar to Porsche. If you want a GT3 RS, you're going to have to spend a few other Porsches.
Correct.
Ferraris, similar.
Correct. Yeah. It's the same thing with luxury handbags as well. They make you buy all scarves and towels and shoes and stuff if we can get your Birkin bag, right? And that's the whole industry of the luxury space. How long it's going to last for, I can't tell you. I mean, Rolex have, for longest time traded. There's been a market for it anyways in second hands, whether being over retail or under retail, there's always been a market for it. It's just unfortunate that the newer stuff are trading significantly higher than retail.
It's crazy. I've got a story for you. I've been fascinated by watches for a while. I don't have any myself, but at the time where I got into watches, I was working at Nexia, which is a mid-tier firm at the time. And I went out and tried on I'll never forget, it was an Explorer 2 Polar dial, the 216570.
Oh, he doesn't know. Okay, we're talking about reference numbers now. All right.
And the reason I remember the reference number is I took a photo of it and I put it on my Instagram and I said, I don't have it right now, but one day when I reach a certain goal, my goal is to buy this watch.
Give me a call, mate.
And anyway, so what's crazy is that you just can't get these watches nowadays. At that time, I remember walking in and being able to just buy that watch and I didn't push, but there was probably a discount available. We're talking 2014, 2015. Whereas nowadays, it's just the market's changed. It's crazy, but it's a supply demand thing.
Correct.
You said it. So Rolex produces a million pieces.
Correct. It's roughly 1.2 they say,
Yeah.
but they're saying that they're building another
Facility,
but I'm not sure when that's going to open, and like it's just rumors at this stage.
Yeah.
But also the prices of even luxury watches have gone up every single year by about 2 times. Once on the 1st of Jan and once on the 30th of July. June or July, I can't remember. And it's funny you say that because as prices go up, the price on the grey market keeps going up.
Yeah.
And people are still buying.
Yeah.
It's non-stop. It's like it's crazy. Like when we're always asking this, is it ever going to get to a point where the price is just too high, people are not going to pay for it?
Yeah.
We don't know. So we'll see.
We'll let the market decide.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
it. All right, man. So tell me a little bit about your business model too. If you got any specific questions about the business, I know you're an accountant and you love asking.
I do have a
questions.
question. What % are they going up each year? You know how you said they go up twice a year. Are we talking with inflation? They're going up?
Well, obviously the price of gold has gone up significantly in the last less than 6 months or so. It's been crazy with everything that's happening.
Yeah, but
it's
how much gold is in a basic Rolex?
you're not paying for the gold. You're not paying for the gold. You're buying. For example,
So don't blame it on the gold, Jay.
Yeah. I've got a couple of watches on me, but I'll show you guys later. But you're not buying these watches for the material, but you're buying for the brand of it. You're buying for the. And I always say when you're wearing a Patek, a Rolex, an AP, it's not because you. For the most part, you're not buying because you love horology. It's a statement piece. It's a status piece, right? People buy it to kind of show who they are, their status, their wealth. And yeah, I mean, in terms to answer your question, the price went up about 6 to 7% in January. It went up another about 1 to 3% in June.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1-3.
3, yeah,
roughly. So that's what the kind of percentage we've.
So 7 to 9%.
Could be another increase in January 1st. We're not sure yet, but generally what's been happening historically, they've been increasing every single year to kind of. I don't know if it's to account for inflation or what.
It's both things. So number one, obviously they've got to cover inflation because as their costs go up, they're not going to lose money on the pieces, Sufik. But the other one is they peg the prices to the. I'm pretty sure they peg the prices to the USD. So in Australia, they will automatically raise the price if there's currency fluctuation because they don't want you to be able to arbitrage different countries.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's interesting as well.
But what gets me is basic economics, supply and demand. As demand has gone up, supply is stagnant. The equilibrium rises. Right? Why have they not thrown it up 20%?
You're going to kill the market doing that. So what a company that basically built this whole waitlist system, right? So what they're selling are not the watches. What they're selling is a waitlist to be exclusive, to be able to own a piece, right? Yeah. So what's happened is that Audemars Piguet, AP, built that basically whole system where they made it very exclusive, right?
All in-house.
And for them to increase production means that they're shooting themselves in the foot in the long run. So I guess indirectly, where us in the grey market are actually helping their brand with exclusivity and prices and everything like that, right? Because we're pushing their brand up, so if they were to saturate the market with the end product, what would happen? So same thing with another product that's out there, Yeezys, right? And shoes, shoes, right? At one stage they were going for what, $2,000, $3,000. Then they started, releasing all these different variances, and prices started crashing because supply. Yeah, you can get it very easily. So what's the point? 100%. So they kind of shot themselves in the wrong.
So it's a sensitive issue, the supply. It's almost like the product is
the product is a wait list.
The wait list.
Correct. The product is not the watch. Yeah.
We saw this, especially during Toyota RAV4s. Good luck getting a Toyota RAV4 during the COVID. But the different thing about Rolex, not many people know this, but I'm sure you do, obviously, is that they're a charity. So
they're a what?
They're a charity. So
not for profit.
They're a not for profit.
Correct. Yes.
They're selling watches that Casio sells for $300. For $10,000, and they're a charity. So I'm sure they're a little bit better than a Casio.
So the thing is, they're not accountable to the shareholder. They're not accountable to the public market. Whatever. They will do what's best for their brand. They will reiterate. They don't create evolutions. They tweak and make their watches better every single year or whatever, and they take iterations instead of evolutions. And so there's no, unlike, I'm sure in an accounting mind, you're thinking increase your prices, decrease your staff, do this, do that. They're not in that game. So it's fascinating to see them they don't care. They just will produce what we believe is the best watch that we can produce, and we'll leave it to the market to decide.
It's funny to say in terms of iterations of different models. So for example, the watch you're wearing now, it's been around for years and years, right? They've updated a couple of times, and there's minute details we look for as dealers to kind of know which reference it is, but it's always kind of the same form factor. The only thing that they really do is just update the movement, stuff you can't really see sometimes, right? And they may put stuff like an extra like crown logo somewhere on the watch that we know to look for. So okay, that's a new reference. But essentially, you put them next to each other, there's no difference. Especially to an untrained eye, you can't see the difference. So yeah, they're basically like iPhones and Porsches and stuff, right? They've got a form factor that's already working. They just tweak it a little bit, make it a little bit better every single year. Do you know what I mean? And people go crazy for it. People pay $1,000 extra just to get that newer iteration.
It's a crazy community. All right, so you start the watch dealing business, and you're starting to sell, and you're starting to make a bit of money. On Instagram, it's such a sexy business, man. Like this stuff would, luxury watches, nice cars, all these sorts of things. The more, icon things that people look at. What are the more difficult parts of the business that no one tells you about when you first start out? Because as you mentioned, there were so many dealers during COVID. Everyone was trying to be a watch dealer. What's the more difficult things that you've encountered that you maybe didn't even foresee when you first started out in this industry?
Are we talking about a business standpoint or just like...
business. Yeah.
Look, I came in... So like I told you guys, I came from a marketing background. I was heavily in production, heavily in marketing. I was doing a lot of marketing work for different agencies as well. So I guess what I knew straight away when I came into the industry is it's a very young and very hustle culture kind of industry. It's not professional at all. A lot of these dealers are basically... kids sometimes, right?
Call them backpack dealers.
Backpack dealers, yeah. So they're not very educated in business in general. They just know how to make a buck, right?
Yeah.
What I knew straight away is when I came in, I was like, you know what? I need to build my brand straight away. Off the bat, reputation's king.
Yeah.
So that's why I started working on my socials from the get-go. I started working on reviews. Started trying to get my name out there. That's why I was starting also working with tutors, because I knew that would be for a small amount of capital. I could build it quick and have a lot of inventory and get my name out there on a regular basis. And that's what I basically targeted first. And I guess the second thing that was a hurdle was scams. Scams happen on a regular... I've got scammed once, I'm not gonna lie. I lost about $700. Wasn't that big. It wasn't that much, but still. Scams are huge in this industry. And I guess over time, as the scammers learn who you are, they stop kind of trying. Because you can tell, hey, my son is gonna pick up this watch from you this afternoon.
All the games,
all these games that they try to do, and you kind of start being able to pick up the different red flags from experience and different people's recounts. And obviously, I've got 4 partners as well that work with me, and we all share kind of stories and try to ask each other for certain tips and tricks. But I guess advice I can give for anyone that's looking to buy a watch from the grey market is, if it's too good to be true, it's most likely too good to be true, right? No one's selling a Submariner for 10 grand these days anymore, right? They're worth about 20, 24 grand, so no one's going to sell it for half price. They're not that stupid. I mean, some people are. I mean, you can usually sometimes get a decent bargain, but for the most part, they're not. So yeah, I guess those are the 2 things that I'd say would be the 2 hurdles that I had to kind of overcome getting to where I am today. So.
Excellent, man. Love it. And why did you tell me about, so you mentioned the marketing side and the video side of your business. How have you leveraged that to grow this business? What specifically have you been doing? Is it social media? Is it YouTube? Like what works?
Yeah. I don't know if you know who this guy is, Gary Vee.
Oh yeah,
surely you know who he is. So I was binging his content for a long time. I was binging Alex Hormozi for a long time as well. So these guys are like content.
We love Hormozi.
He's the best.
We call him Hormozi.
That's true.
We love him, but
he's not natural, isn't he?
He'll openly say he's not. That's great. Yeah, we love him.
Joe Rogan as well. But what I've learned from these boys is that you can obviously tell that they're masters of what they do in terms of not just what they do in terms of marketing and or business, but also they're masters at content. And I saw that and I was like, also, I mean, you learn quite a bit doing videos for different clients. You kind of learn what works, what doesn't. So what social has really helped me do is just add the extra touch point to a client, especially in an industry where it's very scary to buy something, especially when you're new.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're buying. You don't know who you're buying from. Having a face to a name and having a face to a product and having just a face there to kind of be able to, depend on you get a bit more a sense of security. And that's what I try to build with my brand. I try to just build trust and honesty kind of stuff. So it helps with them trusting me in buying stuff, right? So I think it's helped tenfold. And I told Tufik this prior to the podcast is that about 20% of my business comes from Facebook. 70% comes from Instagram.
Wow.
The remaining is just like word of mouth. Maybe remaining is word of mouth in Google. So my inbox on Instagram is flooded on a daily basis. But understandably, it's not going to work for a B2B type of industry. It may not work as well. We're B2C and also where we've got a lot more sexier product. But it's not to say you can't generate business from socials, right? So I think socials is a massive component to any business.
Yeah, I love that. I've got a question for you. It's a bit of a story as well. I have a mate who was trying to get a watch, can't get it at the AD, so they went down the grey market route. They went into the grey dealer, and they were adamant that's it. They were buying this watch, right? And they go into the grey dealer and they start asking questions about the watch just to make sure that the AD is like they can trust whatever. And the AD was like, not the AD, the grey dealer, and the grey dealer was very like didn't really know exactly what the watch was, didn't know the reference, didn't know like it didn't look like a complete set. It looked like they sort of just put it together. And so they just felt uncomfortable. And when you're spending a lot of money, you really want someone you can trust and all that sort of thing. So my question is, what's a red flag, or what's one of the red flags what's a few red flags that someone can look out for when they're trying to buy a watch?
From a grey market dealer?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously knowledge is king. That's a weird saying. But yeah, knowledge is quite important. So if you were, there's two ways you can actually buy a Rolex from the grey market, right? You can either go to a grey market, you can go to a backpack dealer, Facebook, Marketplace and all that. They usually try to get you to meet McDonald's or something in the middle of the night. It's funny actually. I know a backpack dealer down in Melbourne actually. He has a Porsche actually, so he's doing okay for himself. But he met a dude at McDonald's at 9 p.m. at night.
Wow.
Right? The dude hops into his car. Wow. They look at the watch, have a conversation, and the guy's like, yeah, good to go. You end up nicking the watch and
sounds like a disaster.
Yeah. It was horrible. So, anyways, the guy the dealer in the Porsche started chasing the dude. Was on the phone with the cops, and then what ended up happening is the cops told him to stop chasing him. They'll try to find him. They know who he is. Eventually, what happened was they actually caught the guy. Oh, right. The guy walked into the police station with the watch on his wrist, saying, "Oh, hey, my car was stolen, whatever," and they caught him right then and there.
Right.
If the guy didn't have the watch on him, they wouldn't have been able to retrieve that watch. But because he had it on his wrist, they confiscated it, gave it back to the original dude. Yeah. But that's a type of stories that we hear on a regular basis with backpack dealers. Unfortunately, because there's no secure place, no insurance, no cameras, no security, it does make it quite scary to buy from the grey market because you don't know what you're buying sometimes as well. You don't know if it's a fake. You don't know if it's coming from a reputable source. You don't know if it's stolen. If what's hot, as in if it's stolen. That could be a massive issue for you. Say someone runs a serial and it's in police database, it's been stolen, it could get taken back. So that's one way you can go about it. But it's not to say that that backpack dealers are bad. They're out there trying to make money as well. I know a lot of good backpack dealers as well. But then just trying to make sure that you're meeting them at a watchmaker so that they can actually authenticate the watch for you prior to you giving them money. Or the second option is to obviously go to someone like myself where we do have a proper office, security, insurances, licenses. So there are obviously second-hand dealer licenses that we all have to be able to operate as a second-hand dealer license, the second-hand dealer. So you can come into this place and, for example, with our showroom, we've got like tons and tons of watches where you can try different stuff on. And majority of our stuff are full set. What I mean by full set is that it has all the paperwork to show that the watch is authentic. And all kind of stuff.
Tufik, I know you had a question around, what type of registrations, licenses, how do you get around the money laundering? Like, what's the,
I think we all know, goes without saying, watches are used and can be used in money laundering, right, in some illegal markets, right? What red tape has the government instituted for you guys to try to stop you involving yourselves in things like that?
Money laundering definitely a massive issue in our industry because luxury goods, easy move items around, right?
Yeah.
So you can just
It's very easy to put $100,000 on your wrist.
Yeah, and no one would know anything about it, right?
Fly overseas, trade it for local currency and move on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Rolex is in general, not just Rolex, but all these other high-end brands that are trading above retail and trading really well. They use it to move currency around the world. So you can actually buy a watch here, move it overseas on your wrist, and no one knows, right? Yeah. So red tape, Austrac is one that the government have implemented. I mean, not just in the watch industry, but in general for cash transactions. Sure. And also knowing, I think the value's over $5,000. If they pay anything over $5,000, you do have to record the information down, and that's what we do basically. And anytime we're buying or selling a watch, we're always asking for ID, so obviously we're tracking everything down. So it does. It is a bit more of a, I guess, process in terms of all this extra admin paperwork, but then you got to do it just to make sure you're above board. You know, 100%. You don't want to get rated, and the cost base is saying, "Hey, where's this watch is coming from?" And then they run the serials, and then nothing's been registered, and nothing. You've got no record. So I know a lot of people, unfortunately, when they're doing trades, doing quick deals in and out, and they don't record anything, which is a big issue. Yeah. Especially if you get audited by the ATO and all that as well. So that's the type of stuff that we deal with.
Absolutely, that's a good question. All right, and so let's go more into some more watch rapid fire stuff because it's a topic we're all obviously interested about. My first question is, what advice would you give someone interested in beginning a watch collection?
Buy what you like, man. Don't buy the hype. Don't worry about what prices are doing. Just buy what you like because if you compromise, most of the time what happens is that you end up regretting it. Buyer's remorse. So buy what you like, man.
Awesome. Good advice. What's the most expensive watch you've ever sold?
Most expensive watch I've ever sold was... putting me on the spot now. I need to think about this one.
Yeah.
A couple of pieces at almost 200 grand.
Far out.
Yeah. What was it?
200, mate. That's a brand new
C63. Correct.
And put a new set of rims on it, mate.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Sorry, mate. It's
so good, man. Or ballpark. What's
a platinum day date, which I think runs about 175.
Yeah. What color dial?
Platinum's always baby blue. I don't have one on me at the moment, but it's always ice blue.
Diamond dial?
I can't remember. It's been so long ago. It's funny. This actually. So I remember when I joined forces with my business partner. I think it was in the first 2-3 months. I ended up selling just in 3 days $250 million of watches.
Insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the most I did in that period. Like, what the hell's going on? Look, business moves fast. As soon as you hit something, like if you hit something quite right, you just kind of exponential. You just take off. You know.
Were you nervous at all when you went and bought that? Did you sell that on consignment or did you buy it?
So it was another client's watch. So you basically, like I said, we're brokers. So you have contact someone wanting to sell. You know someone that wants to buy. You just connect the dots and then you make your money in between, just like mortgage brokers, basically.
Okay, so you didn't have to.
Not always. That one. Not always. So for now, we switched over to a majority owned business model because consignment, unfortunately, is a pain in the ass to deal with. Deal with a lot of headaches. You got to ask for permissions. You got to do this. They don't want to sell. They don't want to do this, and then it's very painful. So for us, we prefer to just give you a one price, take it or leave it, and then we'll stock it ourselves. It's less headache.
Absolutely, and consignment can be also detrimental to both markets. I've heard of great dealers going under during COVID, free money, and then all of a sudden 6% interest rate if you've bought or if you've overspent yourself.
Yes.
You could lose a watch in consignment. It's actually very scary.
Yeah, that's another issue that happens in the industry. The guy that actually got me into the YouTuber that used to make a lot of content that got me into watches. He was actually done by the FBI in the States for consignment pieces and moving money around and then not being able to pay back.
Wow.
So he amassed a debt of about $5 million. And then what he was doing is consigning everything and then using the money to live lavishly, buying G-Wagons and gambling and living this high luxury life. Eventually, everything caught on and just blew up on the internet. Everyone found out he got put in jail.
Wow.
But yeah, that's an issue that happens, unfortunately, I want to say quite regularly with luxury goods that people start making a little bit of money and then they think they can live lavishly and forgetting about the taxes that they're going to pay, forgetting about the money they're going to pay back to consignee.
It's not only people in the watch industry, mate. It's people in every industry.
Correct. Money management, I think, is definitely something that's super, super important in owning a business. And just that knowledge of knowing how to manage it is huge. But yeah, so what was happening is obviously he was taking money from Pete, paying Paul, and keeping it going, kind of thing.
Sounds like classic Ponzi.
Basically. So we've completely switched over from away from consignment. We do a little bit, very little, but 95% of our inventory is ours.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the probably the thing I think most people think of is how can you tell if a watch is fake or not?
If you don't have an experience, do not buy it without authenticating it, for the love of God.
So you're telling me I can't just watch a YouTube video?
No. Man, I got a story for you. I got plenty of stories.
What if it has a booklet?
No. The card, no, in a box. So anyway, so this guy, right, on Instagram, he reaches out to me. He's like, hey, man, I'm just new into the industry. I'm trying to get into watches. Wants to sell me a Datejust, Fluted Jubilee Rhodium. I told him, hey, look, this is the price I'm buying it at. And he's like, oh, sorry, man, it's a bit low for me. I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. I can't pay anymore. He's like, cool, all good. A month later, he comes back to me on Instagram and he says, hey, bro, the watch that I bought and I was offering you was actually a super clone. He tried to sell it to another dealer and the dealer found out and then got annoyed because he was trying to sell him a fake. But then he didn't know. And I'm like, mate, did you not authenticate the watch prior to purchasing? He's like, no, man, it had everything. It had all the booklets and the card and everything. I'm like, how do you know what you're looking for if you just got started?
That's insane.
Like when I first got started, I was authenticating everything. And eventually you learn what's included, how a fake looks like, what to look for, right? And even now you got to be careful. But with him, he just got into it. He's quite young, lost his half of his life savings on buying a fake.
It's very sad.
So that's the type of stuff that I always say. There's a very common saying in our industry which states buy the dealer, not the watch.
Right.
Meaning that make sure you know who you're buying it from and make sure that they're reputable, make sure they've got some things to lose behind them, right? For example, our license, our office and stuff like that, right? So just make sure that, again, you're buying from a credible source. And if you decide to go down the backpack dealer route, go to a watchmaker. There's a very well-known watchmaker in the city, in the Dimmick's building called Horologist Sydney. He does all our work because we just trust him and he's very well-known. So yeah, if you don't have to use him, but there's plenty of watchmakers around. Just make sure you get it checked, right? You don't want to be you don't want to be out 20, 30, 40 grand buying a watch that you thought was real from a guy you trusted, you know?
Jay, there's fakes in every industry.
Of course.
There's fakes who are builders who build terrible, pathetic homes and then go under after 12 months.
Correct.
And I've sat in front of clients who tell me, the old accountant I spoke to said A, B, C, and D. No, that's fake advice. That's rubbish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's fakes in everything.
Yeah. Well,
is your advice, even if I buy from Jay, I should go get authenticated?
Get it authenticated. Yeah. And guess what? We'll give you 100% money back if it doesn't come out to be real or if it's not working properly. There you go. Right? We'll even service it for you too, right? So that's the type of guarantee that we provide to our clients, right? We're not out there to scam anyone. We're not, we wouldn't be where we are if we did this kind of dodgy deals, if I'm trying to say. Like, it's funny, yesterday I had a guy come in and then he looked me dead in the eyes after about to pay. He's like, mate, if this comes back fake, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get my money. I'll make sure of it. I'm like, all right, Liam Nielsen, relax, buddy. Jesus Christ.
I'm a qualified professional.
Yeah. And I looked him dead in the face, like he was basically threatening me. I'm like, bro, we're good. We wouldn't be where we are if we were selling fakes, mate. Like, go get it checked with Rolex. I don't give a shit. Go get it checked. Bring it back to me if it's fake. Jesus Christ, mate. Don't even threaten me.
Can I ask, who is buying these watches? For some of you listening, I'm sure this is an exorbitant price point. This is like, people don't even know the industry until they hear about it and they're like, oh wow, there's money in watches and whatever. Who would be your typical demographic of buyer?
Yeah. What's the demographic? What do they look like?
Two things very interesting.
What industry?
They look a lot like you, mate. I'm messing. So you get a wide variety and different types of people. Sometimes you have crypto kids. Crypto booming. A lot of 18, 20-year-olds coming into my watches. They've just made some money, want to park some money away. Not the best way to park money away, if I'm totally honest with you. But so a lot of builders, a lot of people who are in construction, they're obviously making big bucks.
That one I believe because I am an accountant, as you know, and we know what our clients like to spend their money on. Yeah. And mate, these days, at least for the past 10 years, if you dig land, you lay concrete, you frame a house, you build a house, you sell a house, right? If you're in any of these building-based industries, right, you're making money.
Correct.
Right? There's a lot of them making money, and being Lebanese, we've got plenty of
course,
Lebanese, clientele who do have quite a bit of money, who've done well for themselves, and you can see they do have quite they've got a good collection of watches, right? You see going out with them, you see it in the client meetings. So there's a lot of people who have made money, right? Our clients as well, who have bought these luxury watches. But it's just, some of them are just ridiculously priced, Jay. I don't know how people spend.
Look, I get it. And I got friends that say the same thing. Well, who the hell buying these watches? In my personal opinion, from what I've seen, from my experience, people are cashed, man. You don't see it, but people are cashed. They've got money to spend, to splurge, right? I know a guy that is in, I don't want to be too specific, but he does something in like
Building
the trading, but he's coming every other week.
Wow.
Pateks, Rolexes, APs, he's buying them with no debt, no loan, and just paying up front, right? They're cashed. So to answer your question, a lot of builders that come to us, real estate agents, crypto kids, what else do they do? You'd be surprised. Finance people in working corporate jobs, they come and buy Rolexes. They're buying majority like that 20 to 30K range. So that's where we find that the sweet spot is about that 25K. That's where a lot of people are buying. That's where majority of the people are sitting. But yeah, man, it's not just business owners, but also people who work 9 to 5s. They also buy this kind of stuff. And eventually what they do is they take it, they enjoy it, and then settle it on. And they make a slight loss, or they make their money back, and then they move it on, right?
It's holding its value for the most part.
Yeah, so it
seems to be the new gold and the new jewelry.
Correct. Yeah, like I said, you're not buying Rolexes for the material, you're buying for the status and everything. So Rolexes have become quite liquid, and not Rolexes, but these other brands, they've become quite liquid, and there's a very established market for it, not just in Australia, but worldwide. So I could take a watch that I bought from here, go overseas, and get very similar pricing. So it's become, you're right, somewhat of a gold standard, and it's kind of, to move funds around quite easily with having a luxury watch.
That's cool, man. How has the current economic climate affected watches? So during COVID, we saw everything was blowing up. RAV4s were, if you bought a RAV4, you could move it and make some money. Very similar, obviously, with watches. How has the current economic climate affected used watch prices and whatnot?
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. So obviously COVID, everything was massively inflated. I know a guy that bought an olive day date, which I don't have here at the moment. He bought it for 140, sold it for 80. Made a massive loss, unfortunately, when all the prices crashed. I mean, everything crashed, right? During after COVID, everything came down to kind of a normal standard.
Equilibrium.
Correct. I mean, the market now it's very stable. So we haven't seen massive spikes. We haven't seen massive drops. So it's been whatever we're buying for, we were selling for like 6 months ago, same price, right? So it's funny you say that with all the interest rates. And a lot of people ask the same question. Hey, interest rates going up. Hey, recession, blah, blah, blah. Are people still buying? Mate, we've had our best month yet in the last 2 months. Yeah. This month and last month. Insane. People buying. We're rotating our stock over and over quite fast. And average, I reckon, average stock time maybe about 25 days. Wow. In and out. Some pieces come in, gone same day. So
that's
have you ever had times when your business is choked for cash?
All the time.
Yeah. You just can't buy more pieces.
It's a common issue in our industry. Cash management is a massive issue because the luxury items are so expensive, right? You buy 5 watches, you're out 100, 200, almost sometimes 200 grand, right? So for me, for example, end of last month, I was quite heavily cashed. I sold, like the whole team sold quite a bit of, like a lot of watches were basically empty. I put out a couple of ads saying I want stock, and by now I'm full. I'm empty again. So it's quick. It's in and out quite. And I'm sure by probably mid next month I'll probably be empty again. Like I'll be cashed again. It's a constant.
Cycle.
Without money you can't make money, right? Without the funds I can't buy anything. I can't. So
it's common with a stock-based business. So the classic e-com or all these industries who rely on moving product is. A lot of product, no cash. A lot of cash, no product.
Yeah, so you gotta be able to. What's good about us as a team is we've got 4 partners and all of us have funds, right? So we can obviously bounce back and forth. Hey, I got this deal. Do you want it? Flick it, and hey, take it, whatever. So that's how we're basically able to build our inventory. But by yourself, I think it'd be very hard.
I've got a more personal question for you, Jay. what's if you could own any watch in the world? Like, what's your grail? They call it the grail
wearing
piece.
it.
Oh, no way.
A 5167 Rolex
yeah.
Patek. I sold it, but bloody hell. Well, we had two, but they both sold just 2
No
days
way.
ago. But my business partner, he sold both of them. So I'm like, you bastard.
There you
So
go.
I'm just enjoying this before it goes. But I've been loving this piece. It's one of my favorite.
yeah.
The reason why I love it is Pateks, compared to Rolexes and APs, they're very elegant. They're very understated. And I don't want to go for something that's super flash. So I've got some watches here I want to
I'd
show
love
you guys.
to see, man.
I don't know if I want to show the camera, but I don't know. Oh, there you go. You got okay, cool. So I've got a Yachtmaster there, an AP Royal Chrono, a 58.
Tell me some of the stories behind these pieces. Like, why is this worth money? What the heck's going on? What are you showing me?
Okay. So here I have, I'd say roughly about a little bit over 500K worth of stock, I think. Maybe more. I'm not sure.
There's a house on the table.
Basically, yeah. So this is
There's half a house in Blacktown.
So this is the most expensive piece in the collection at the moment. It's a 5811 Patek Philippe white gold. So this piece was replaced. It replaced the 5711, which was originally stainless steel. And funny because a piece like this in stainless steel, you're still paying about 150, right? 170. Stainless steel. It's not even gold. Stainless steel, right? But this is white gold, so it does trade for more. So this is about 230.
What's special about Patek? Why?
Man, Patek only makes about 60,000 pieces a year.
Wow.
Right? 60,000 pieces.
60,000?
They make 1.2 mil a year in Rolexes.
So there is 60,000. So what are they selling it at on average?
In retail, they're a lot more expensive as well. So the Prestige, the Heritage, the watch, something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe about 70 to 100. So to trade by double.
Can I ask you from a business perspective, how long have you had this piece?
It came in like less than a month ago.
How long will you hold on to this piece?
Probably sell next month or so. Maybe a month or two.
So you're going to have 150 grand of your money for 2 months in this piece.
Yeah. It has to be worth it. But like, for example, something like this took us about a month and a half to move. We had two of them. They both moved in the same day. It's funny. The market works very funny. Like sometimes you have stuff like this, which are hot movers and moves every day. A Pepsi, Jubilee, right? They move. For some month you may have everyone asking for it. Some months you have no one asking for it. I've got 6 of these in stock at the moment.
Wow.
Last month I had 11 of these, but the Batgirl was in variants. We're like,
So how much is this one?
This one's will set you back about mid-30s.
All right, mid-30s. How long will you hold on to this one?
It's
on average?
quick, like less than 25 days. It'll move.
Beautiful.
And what are these
So
worth at
30
retail?
grand of your money. For
Sometimes
25
they'll move
days.
within the same day, man. When you buy it,
What are these retail?
18, 19, I think.
19.
So
Yeah.
obviously
Double
there's more money in it in the used because they're just impossible to get.
Well, no, what you're paying on the grey market for is you're paying to not wait.
Right.
You're paying to get off the wait list.
Right.
You're getting for what you want, right?
Jay, you know how you said that's mid-30s? If I buy that from a backpack dealer, meet someone at McDonald's,
You pay a little bit
right?
less,
How much less are we talking?
grand or two, slightly less.
So I can pay 1,000 or 2 more and know that I'm getting it from a reputable source. So
Correct.
that's what your brand is worth. Your
Correct,
brand is
yeah.
1,000 or 2 a piece.
Not just that, but security, guarantee. You can bring it back to me 6 months on saying, hey, it's not working. I'll get it checked for you. I'll fix it for you. No extra charges. Obviously, granted, you didn't smash the watch or something, but
Look, if I was going to spend $34,000 or $35,000,
Pay the price to get
I
it
think
right.
I'd rather buy it from you than McDonald's. Yeah.
yes, it is. Unfortunately, so yes, it is how the industry operates. A lot, like I said, it's.
But I'd rather pay 18 grand from Rolex.
Me too.
Yeah.
If I could, I would too.
Yeah.
I'd pay whatever this is retail. But yeah, so like anything, you pay a little bit more and you get.
But I like how you said they don't make much Pateks. They make 60,000 pieces.
Worldwide.
But they're...
Worldwide.
It surprised me there's that much demand.
Well, when there's there's got to be
There's 60,000 people who want to pay up to 100 grand.
More than that.
60,000 at retail.
At retail, but then
Used,
there's-
anyone.
There's people waiting
has
in
that
line for
money.
these for
Yeah,
years.
Ouch.
And yes, something like this is a bit less. It's about 188 for a 50. What's the reference number? 5980/1 AR, 2-tone rose gold, stunning piece, absolutely stunning. But
Insane.
what I love about
Are you trying to
Pateks-
sell 2-figure watch?
I am.
today?
I am. So what I love about Patek is I want to show you some differences between the watches, right? So these are what you call Audemars Piguets, and this is what you call a Rolex GMT, right? But the form factor is a lot thicker, right? They are nice. They are quite flashy and very good looking, but for me personally, I'm more of a low key guy, and I prefer an elegant piece, right? So this is very thin, very elegant on your wrist, and it doesn't scream luxury. It doesn't need to scream luxury, right? With these other brands, Rolex and stuff, they're nice. Don't get me wrong, but it's what we consider beginner luxury in the industry. You wear Rolex, you know. There's a saying actually. You wear a Rolex, people ask, like in Dubai, you wear Rolex, people ask you about the watch. You wear an RM or a Patek, people ask you about you because they want to know what you do and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a statement piece, right? It's like you wear this. Who the hell are you? What do you do? You know what I mean?
To be able to afford that
Yeah,
watch.
that's why I wear this. Hey, what do you do? I'm a watch dealer. How come I watch?
It's a lead magnet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
like even so, one thing that I like to say is with watches is that there's three things in life a man can use to show his wealth: is a car, his house, or a watch. And there's only one thing you can bring into a meeting room for business. Hey.
That's very cool.
You got a watch, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is one of those pieces that also helps you connect in meetings. Like, for example, I see you wear a nice watch. I'm really into watches. I start talking about watches, right? I'm like, oh, then we start building a better rapport than we would just business, right? So I'm interested in something else outside of just business. Do you know
It's
what I mean?
unfortunate you can't bring your Nissan Skyline into it.
You can bring your keys, you can bring your Porsche keys, right?
the key fob. So you should walk
Porsche,
around
I'm
with
still
a-
on Nissan Skyline.
You know what? This leads into our next segment. Let's leave them there because they're just pretty to look at. But you've got a paddle here, and we're going to do some agree or disagree.
Yes.
And I want your opinion, and Sufik, I want your opinion as well. So you just hit on it. So wearing a luxury watch earns you more respect in the business world. True,
Agreed.
agree or disagree?
Can I say no comment?
Disagree, mate.
That's
Just
up
bring
to
up the
you.
green
All right,
paddle. Disagree.
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
disagree?
I'll
Okay,
tell you
tell
why in a
me.
minute. I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's get your perspective
Okay.
because you're the guest and you know all watches. So you tell me. First.
Exactly what I just mentioned, what I just said. It is conditional, but
Yes.
in the sense that if you're going to kind of pitch business, I know a guy does this, right? He goes to pitch his business with his Rolex. He goes to collect money in his Omega. So,
Be more discreet.
yeah, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You don't want to be screaming luxury, wealth if you're trying to get people to pay you. But so that's exactly that. Like I said, with a watch on your wrist, you connect better. People know, oh shit, this guy's actually, his business must be doing really well for him to be wearing a Rolex on his wrist. It doesn't even have to be that expensive, 20 grand, you know? No one really
And I
knows.
see the name.
Jacob, I went and bought a house. I went and bought a house about a year ago, and I had some dealings with a few real estate agents, and absolutely none of them drove a Toyota Corolla or a Toyota Camry. What they all drive? BMWs, Mercedes, etc.
Yeah.
It's to show that you're cultured,
Yeah.
right? You've got nice tastes, you're successful,
Yeah.
right? So I do think it does add value.
I'll tell you why I disagree. Here's the problem. I can see the idea that wearing a nice watch would reflect how much money you're making and what you do with yourself and how you want to present yourself. I get it. The problem I find in 2024 is that there is so much fakery out there. And so as an accountant, when I've had this harsh reality over 10 years of seeing actual numbers and seeing actual lives and seeing the actual translate to fake online.
Yeah.
And especially when there's a lot of fakery in terms of watches out there. I don't even know if the guy walking in the room with a Rolex, I don't know if it's real. It is the honest truth, right? I can't take this bloke to the authenticator.
Just send me a photo, mate.
Yeah.
Send me a photo. I'll let you know if it's a good client or not.
I have to ask where he bought his watch from. I think that's the game. But my biggest problem is that I've been around long enough to know that everyone wants to portray like they're doing well, but I don't actually know how well they're doing simply by the thing that they're wearing on their wrist. I'd say a house is more tangible because it's not anyone, but there are people who can get 20 grand together, 25 grand together and wear a watch even if they're broke. That's just like, that is, I see more broke people owning some of these luxury watches than I see heavy hitters wearing these luxury watches.
Like the real estate agents in their BMWs.
You know what I mean? So I still respect the humility, the humble. So I'm never going to judge a book by its cover and all that sort of thing. I can see both sides, but that's why I went disagree, because I've been around to see enough that I don't know. It's.
But Jacob, why is this perception so important? Why does everyone want this perception?
You're associating yourself with a brand. You're associating yourself with this
exactly,
is hard to
because
get, it's exclusive.
Other than
it's-
you,
yeah.
most other people will look at the person and judge. We're all judges, and they'll judge, oh, you know what? This guy's cultured, he has money, he's doing well for himself, he has a Rolex.
Yeah, I get it.
Or he drives a Porsche.
Yeah, it's all about the hype culture at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
watches have become part of the modern pop culture, hype culture.
Yeah.
I gotta look like I'm a mad rapper with bling that ice. Does that shit? Don't do that.
Yeah.
Your watch. Don't ever ice out your watch, guys.
But that's the appeal for teenagers. But what's the appeal for business people? I'm a successful business person. I'm gonna display.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a question,
Mm.
right? You made your millions. You've done really well for yourself. You don't have anything else to buy. What do you buy?
It depends who you are.
Depends if you've got enough property.
What do you buy? After that, what do you buy?
You want the Porsche GT3,
After that,
RS that no one else can
The
get.
toys. At the end of the day,
Inevitably, the things no one else can get.
correct. Yeah.
Stop.
Right.
So as humans, we always kind of want that status to show who we are in society, and so kind of get that that prestige. But for me, for watches, I've always said that they're not good. They're not investments. They are toys that you wear, you enjoy, and then you move on once you're bored of it.
Which brings me to my next question. This is an agree or disagree. Are luxury watches or are watches an investment? Agree or disagree?
What do you think, Tufik?
You know what?
Tufik's on the fence.
Nah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, look,
I'm gonna put
it's like this.
So I'm gonna do this. I have to go
So
halfway.
you're going disagree. Watches are not investments, correct? You're saying watches are not investments.
Look, we all like to throw our money in the bin, right? Some people throw it away doing ridiculous things like buying a C63, right? And losing 20 grand a year just so they can look mildly cooler. If you have a vice and you want a vice and you want to buy expensive toys, buy watches. Why? Because we just spoke about how if you buy one from Rolex, you're buying it at 15 and selling it for 20, for some pieces, obviously, right? What's the worst that can happen? You're buying it for 25 and after 3 years, you scratch it a bit, it's not as good. You might get 20 for it, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Find me a vice that you can get 90% of your money back.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you want to be stupid and throw your money in the bin, you know what's better? What's better than what makes more financial sense than buying this $200,000 watch?
A house.
Right? Go buy a house.
That's boring.
We won't get too
one
in
wants
too
to
much
buy a house.
detail. Yeah. Buy a house, get a return, pay it off, get Sydney 4-5% capital growth.
But the
every
question
single
is,
year.
if you've done that, what
Right.
do you got 5-6 houses, what else is there?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
Do you know what I mean? What else is there?
I
in
agree
life?
with you. But I think we can agree. If you want a vice and you want to spend money on something stupid,
The
why
Watch
watch?
Guy Jay.
Yeah.
The Watch Guy Jay. I'm just saying, that's my name on Instagram. No, but
funny,
I agree with you. It's conditional. Is it an investment for people like myself? It is, because I can buy quite
you're in
sharp
business.
and I can make
Yeah.
money from it. For people who are looking to buy to enjoy it and eventually moving on, it's not. There's actually the reason why. So I say the watches are always toys, and there's a great story that I like to share with everyone in regards to watches in general. And this one's from Sylvester Stallone, so it's pretty good. So Sylvester Stallone had a massive watch collection. He's a massive watch guy, right? He was on the market and looking to sell his watches through Sotheby's auction in the States. So he had in a video on YouTube, he had a little clip. Basically, what the story goes, he had a guy walk up to him with a $50 Casio on his wrist, right? And he's like, "How much is your watch?" And then he replies, "Oh, it's 50 grand. It's a yellow gold Submariner." And the guy's like, "Mine's $50, and he tells the time. What's the difference? And then Sylvester Stallone answers with this iconic quote that's always stuck with me, and he says, "The watch on my wrist, it's not about the monetary value. It's about keeping lockstep with where you are in your life. So you buy it to kind of show a sense of achievement for yourself, right? So you'd buy a Submariner to show that you made it somewhere, and you buy a GMT or a Day-Date or a Daytona to not show off, but to be able to enjoy and show yourself that you've made it somewhere, right? And that's exactly how I see it too. I don't see watches as investments because I know they're not for your average Joe. For me, yeah, I can buy sharp and I can make some money from it, but I'm not looking to sit on it for 10 years and make money from it, right? Because who knows where the market's going to be in 10 years, right? Who knows? These pieces could be 10 grand. I don't know. But yeah, just so if you're looking to buy a watch, just buy what you like, bro.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I actually went with disagree. I don't believe watches are investments. And the reason I don't believe watches are investments is that I think you should buy what you like. I think it's an accessory. It's a piece of jewelry. I'm a big fan of milestones. I always, I'm very goal driven. So I always say to the team or to whoever I speak to in business, go out and do something worth celebrating, and then go and buy yourself a celebration that you can pass on to your children one day and enjoy. And if you're never going to sell it anyway, it's by technical, like it's not an investment because I'm never going to liquidate the asset. So I'm very much buy what you like, buy it over a long time period, and hand it off to your kids, and let them enjoy it and let them remember you by a piece of jewelry or heirloom or that sort of thing. So If you got 200 grand, in my opinion, put it in your business. Yeah. make money, do something worth celebrating, and then. But obviously, you know,
I'll just spend on your loved ones.
That's it.
That's better than
or a nice Christmas present.
Exactly.
But once you've done all that, call Jay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. All right, cool, man. I think we're on to our last agree or disagree. And this is actually a good one, nice one. Nathan Lobb, our marketing guys, put this one together. Great guy, yeah. Great guy. Hands off. So the most expensive watches are the most impressive. Agree or disagree?
That's a good one.
I know where I stand, so I'm going to put my paddle up. I disagree.
Not necessarily disagree.
Yeah. Tufik?
I know nothing about watches, so I'm just going to agree with you guys.
So you're disagreeing with that statement. Yes. Tell me, Jay.
Not all watches that are expensive are impressive. And look, expensive is all subjective, right? So my personal... So I've had my eyes on a piece that I actually quite like. It's actually a Breguet, not a Rolex, not an AP. So I love this one, don't get me wrong. It is unfortunately quite expensive. But there's a Breguet called a retrograde date. Basically, it has a tiny... a dial on the top here with the time. The rest of it is skeletonized, and it has a date window just at the bottom.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning, absolutely stunning. I love this kind of true horology, I call it. It's a shame that these other brands, they don't kind of get the same hype as these Rolexes and stuff, because their marketing isn't as strong, or just a general market doesn't prefer them as much. But these pieces you can actually get under retail. I mean, retail's about 73. You can probably grab one for like half retail.
Wow.
And that's only set back about 30 grand. So it's not the most expensive watch in the world. It doesn't have to be $250,000, $1 million, whatever. But I think that when you wear it and you look at it, it's actually one of those statement pieces, and it's just stunning. If you really love like watches and you love horology, What is horology?
Art
of watchmaking watches. Yeah.
Okay, so from an engineering perspective, this Breguet is as good as anything.
I want to show you. Remind me to show you later, bro. Remind me to show you on. I've got it on my website. I've got one on my website at the moment, but let me show you it.
For sure. So one of my comments to this as well is that is it true that like 80 or 90% of the catalog actually sells below retail? We've talked a lot about watches going over retail and this and that, but it's only like, I always say there's a Pareto principle, which means the top 20% perform 80% of the 80% of the time and that sort of thing. So I could be wrong, but I would say like 20% of the watches are the ones selling for over retail and whatever. But there's a lot of pieces, like you just said, the Breguet, where you would buy it and you might lose money, and that's why you should enjoy these pieces and buy you enjoy.
Are you talking about just a particular brand? Or are you talking about the whole watches? Watch market?
I would say the whole watch. The market.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's only about 4 brands that really trade above retail.
Yeah,
Rolex, AP, Patek, and RM, Richard Milles.
Yeah,
right? Every other brand kind of trade under, right? Yeah. A Breguet, you get 50% off retail. Omega, Tudor, JLC, you get under retail. Cartier, sometimes slightly above retail, but most of the time under retail. So you're right, yeah. Like, I'd say more than 80%. A lot of brands out there, but only a small amount of brands actually trade up. And again, this comes back to supply and demand and also the hype on the market, right? So basically that's how it operates.
And then I guess my feedback on that, most expensive watches are the most impressive. Man, there's some G-Shocks. Houdinki did a John Mayer G-Shock the
yellow one?
No, that was the Ed Sheeran one.
That's Ed Sheeran, yeah.
They ended up doing a trilogy. And I love John Mayer. And so I love John Mayer. I love what G-Shock have done in the watch world. So to me, that's a $500 watch, and I'm like, dude, I love that watch. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, probably trades over.
I would not be surprised. It's probably limited run. And John Mayer has done some big things in the watch industry.
Exactly.
Right? Awesome. Any final comments, Jay? Any advice you would give to someone when they're getting into the watch world? Anything else you want to put out there?
Or just about business, or just about the watches?
Yeah, about talk to me about business. Any business advice you would give someone that you've learned over the course of your business journey? You've started a few
for sure.
Exited.
Look, reputation is king. It's very important, I believe. Word of mouth, and obviously doing good by people. Try not to burn bridges with clients. You never know what's going to lead to in terms of the future opportunities with a particular client or just in general. So I like to operate my business as trust and honesty, and everything is the most important thing, out of everything else. Money comes second, and money usually is a byproduct of building that trust and that honesty and providing that great level of service. So I think, man, if you're looking to make money, man, just treat people well. They'll return the favor tenfold, man.
Love that. Tufik, any final business advice? What's one business tip you could give to everyone? I'm just happy to have you here, so I have to ask you a business question.
Is he never here, is he?
No.
No, look, can I just add to that? I understand reputation, especially when you're talking about large sums of money. Now, where we are similar in the fact that you're selling watches for a lot of money. People need to trust you. People need to trust your product. And you said the word super clone. I didn't even know there was such a thing, right? There is an element of trust in your field, and it's very much in the same for accountants, right? What we're doing sometimes is sensitive. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of tax, and our advice is meaningful. So reputation does matter above all things, right? All you have is your reputation, and your reputation precedes your knowledge. Right?
Correct. Yes.
This guy, trust him, and therefore trust what he says. Right? Trust Jay, and therefore trust the products that he has are real, are legitimate.
Correct.
Right? And he'll tell you when a piece is worth buying.
Correct.
Right? And he won't buy a piece not worth selling.
Absolutely.
Right?
So Mark Boris always said, Kerry Packer once told him, he was a mortgage broker, and he said, Kerry asked him one day, Mark, what are you selling? And he says, well, I'm selling money. And he says, no, you're not selling money. You're selling the Australian dream. The Australian dream is that home that people want to buy. You happen to be selling debt attached to it. What do we sell in accounting? We don't sell tax returns and financial statements. We sell trust.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally what we sell, similar to you, Jay. It's been a pleasure having you on. I'm amazed by what we have on the table here, and it's been a joy seeing someone passionate about the industry and what they do. Where can people find you, Jay?
Bondi Junction, actually. Our office is based in Westwood Bondi Junction on level 20, in the commercial tower 1 of level 21. So if you guys are ever in the area and you guys want to come check out some watches, have a coffee. We have a coffee machine, and we got a very own barista. I'm sure you know him.
You should have mentioned.
We've got an Italian guy who's actually a watch dealer, but he's Italian. We always make him make us coffee, so he loves it. He loves making coffee.
Yeah,
Apparently,
you talk about Christian.
Candelore, yes, that guy. We love him.
Well, he did run a very famous restaurant for 15 years.
He did.
So,
Correct. Yes,
so it's worth going up there just for the coffee.
Mate, he makes some. It's just an espresso. There's not much skill involved with espressos, but he makes a good coffee.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys are ever in the area, look, if you just want to have a chat, if you just want to come check out some watches, come by. Email me, message me, book yourself in, and then come in. We are only by appointment, so you can't just rock up because security reasons.
Yep. Awesome. Well, it's absolute pleasure having you on. Thanks for your time, and appreciate it.
No, appreciate you for having me, man.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it too.
Man, awesome.
Thanks for coming on, bro.